It's Tuesday and it's time for Falcon Focus. Welcome to Falcon Focus, episode number 2 here in season number 5. We're sponsored by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. My name is Matt Menzel, and segment number 2, our focus to football. And we'll be joined by senior defensive back in Evan Lishka as the Falcon football team coming off a Cheese Bowl victory over the Lakeland University Muskies, 31-28. But up first, our focus on women's tennis, and happy to be joined by a senior in Ashley Samuda. Great start for the women's tennis team and coming off a emotionally charged victory against Edgewood this past Saturday, and we'll talk about that as we go along. But Ashley, you're off to a great 7-0 start in singles play, 7-0 in doubles play. I got to believe you're pretty ecstatic about the way this season has started.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's been so exciting so far.
And you look coming in now to what is your senior season. How did you go about maybe preparing? What's been the mindset coming into this season?
Yeah, I mean, the mindset's really just been kind of trusting your shots, kind of going for it, because, I mean, what do you have to lose? I'm a senior, so I just want to lay everything out there and put it all out there, so, yeah.
Can you believe it's your senior year already?
No, I can't. It's been so fast, but it's been so fun.
And we'll talk about the years and how you've grown through the tennis program, but one of the consistent aspects of your at least collegiate career is the fact that your doubles partner has been Ricky Budowitz, and no different here for a fourth consecutive season. What's that partnership been like playing alongside Ricky?
Oh, it's been so fun. I mean, we've built so much team chemistry throughout my 4 years, and just 4 years being together now. But yeah, we've done so well together. It's just been so fun playing with her. She's such a great teammate to play with. And I'm honored to be her doubles partner again for a fourth year.
Hey, and you talk about that chemistry. Has it gotten to the point where you know each other's strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah, pretty much. We know each other pretty much like inside and out of what we want to do, what shots we want to go for. So yeah, we know each other pretty well on and off the court.
Now, you go back to a matchup against Concordia Chicago this year, and filling in was Maddie Bradshaw. You played alongside Maddie. Does that take some getting used to when all of a sudden, maybe for a match or two, you're playing with a different doubles partner?
Yeah, it does. 'Cause I mean, you just grow to know your own doubles partner and what they know and what shots they want to really hit. So it takes a little bit of getting used to. But yeah, everyone's a great teammate. So yeah.
Obviously, even with the change, the results stay the same, coming away with an 8-1 victory against Concordia Chicago. Let's go back to Saturday and talking about, the matchup against Edgewood. And it's always one of those matchups that circle on the schedule every year. The schedule comes out, and Falcons came away with a 5-4 victory. Take us back to Saturday and just how emotionally charged that matchup truly was.
Oh yeah, I mean, going into it, we were all so excited. We just really wanted to beat them this year again. But yeah, the last match coming down to it, I was a little stressed, not gonna lie. Emotions were running high, but I knew I had my teammates behind me, cheering me on. I couldn't do without them, but it was just so fun and awesome after we won. So.
And that matchup typically goes a long way in determining who brings home the regular season conference championship. And as mentioned, you came through with singles and doubles victories. Okay, what was the difference in your singles match?
I mean, I would just say who wanted it more, really. 'Cause in tennis, it's such a mental game, and you have to pick yourself up almost after every shot. But yeah, I would think just who wanted it more, 'cause it was a really hot day too, so we both are physically exhausted as well. But yeah, it just came down to who really wanted it more.
And you look at, every conference opponent now, 4 seasons in for your career. Have you gotten used to a lot of who you're facing now? Has it become, a lot of the same opponents?
Yeah, pretty much. We always look at the rosters, see who's playing the lineup. But yeah, you kind of get to know like who your opponent is and who you're playing and how you want to play them.
How difficult can it be? Okay, you come off a win like that against Edgewood, but the fact of the matter is you still have to go out there and play Alverno right after. So it's one of those you can't get too high because you got to
Yeah.
stay focused. Does that get difficult at all coming off such an emotional win and then all of a sudden, hey, you got to quickly reset and go back in action?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of gotten used to it just because we've had some double headers as well this season. But yeah, it's something you have to get used to. You have to mentally reset, physically reset as well. Take a break, sit down, get some water. But yeah, you just kind of get used to it, I guess.
And again, coming through with a clean sweep of the Alverno College Inferno right after that. So once the day was over, just how exciting was it knowing you guys had taken care of
Yeah.
business?
Yeah. Oh, it was so exciting. Yeah, for sure.
And you look at this team, the way you guys are playing. Again, everything is gone to the win column thus far for the Falcons here this fall. And you break down the team, and outside of some new freshmen, there are a lot of
hmm
familiar faces with the four seniors, couple of juniors. How close is this team,
Oh,
chemistry-wise?
yeah. Oh no, we're super close. We've all gotten to know each other really well. We're all really close friends. We hang outside of the tennis courts too. So yeah, we've just all gotten to really know each other really well.
Yeah, and every year it seems like it's the same roster. It's going to be odd come next fall
Yeah.
when there actually will be some change.
Mhm.
Last year, the Falcons were able to come through with a regular season championship, able to come through with an ACT tournament championship, got the opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament for a second time over the last now 3 seasons. Is there a hunger among the returnees? You know, you got there last year and fell just short against Carleton. Is there a hunger to get back there and now take that next step?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there always is. We always want to do better. So yeah, I think there for sure is a hunger of wanting to do more, and we obviously want to win conference again this year. The tournament coming in the spring, but of course our goal is to try and get a point in the tournament this year. So yeah, we're really going for that.
Have you figured out, is there a formula to, 2 out of the last 3 years bringing home a NAC tournament championship? Have you guys figured out, what it takes and what that right, recipe might be to win a tournament championship?
I mean, just it comes down to just working hard and really wanting it, I guess. I don't know, that's pretty much it. If you just want it, you're just going to go and get it. So that's what we're trying to do.
And talking about the NCAA tournament experience for you, got the opportunity to play against Whitewater in 2021, and then we mentioned the Carleton matchup, last spring. What did you learn, or what did the team learn from those experiences?
I mean, I think you learn different parts of your game playing those matches because they're really tough teams when you get down to that level. But just really trying to fine-tune your game and just what you really need to work on.
Does it have a different feel? Obviously, it's the NCAA tournament, and maybe procedure and the format may be a little bit different in how you guys, do things,
Yeah.
pre-match. But did it have a different feel in both instances?
I mean, I would say it does a little bit just because, you're in such like a big tournament and all that. The stress levels are a little bit higher. Emotions are running high. So I think it definitely has a different feel.
How about for you, preparation-wise? Is it different because you're facing somebody you probably have no history against?
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, because you don't really know how you want to go into the match playing them. You're just trying to figure out their strengths, their weaknesses, just trying to remember your best shots and just trusting your shots, really. But preparation, I would say, is kind of the same.
How about your surrounding? Obviously, in some instances you play outdoors. Some instances you play indoors. And obviously you go to different venues. Does that play a role at all in just your preparation process and just getting used to your surrounding?
I mean, I would say so, yeah, because you're just trying to get used to, the area of where you're at. When you're outside, the sun's a factor. And so getting used to that can be a little tougher. But I would say just beforehand, just listening to music and prepped with the team, I think that's all the same. Yeah.
We've talked with cross-country athletes in the past, and one of the questions I ask is talking about weather conditions. You just brought up the sun, so from a tennis standpoint, do you have an ideal weather condition? What's the whether it be temperature-wise or lack of wind? What's the best for you?
I mean, I would say definitely no wind. Wind for a tennis player is kind of difficult sometimes, because the ball can just fly everywhere.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. But the sun, I mean, I like playing in really hot weather. I'm kind of weird, so.
Cloudy conditions or sunny conditions? Does it matter?
I like sunny conditions, but that's just me.
So right now when it's mid-60s, is that a little too cool for you?
That's a little too cool for me, yeah.
You guys have Lakeland coming up a little bit later on, so hopefully it heats up a little bit. And right now it's cloudy and perhaps a chance of rain. But looking at your tennis career with Concordia, what highlights, what memories so far stand out? Are there certain matches that stand out?
Yeah, I mean, definitely my freshman year, I would go back to that one again of just when we won conference that year. Because, I mean, I didn't really know how big of a deal that was. But then going to the NCAA tournament, it was really eye-opening. So I think just kind of learning how big that really was just really cool. And the team was super close as well. And also last year was super cool, too, of winning that. But I would say my freshman year was a big memory.
How do you feel like you've grown as a player from day one here on campus to now?
Yeah, I mean, I would say coach has really helped me to grow of not getting as stressed on the court, because I would say coming into it freshman year, I was a little psycho on the court.
Explain.
I
Define
mean,
psycho.
I would just get really frustrated myself for little things. I mean, I still do it sometimes, but not as much. But he's really helped me just to kind of calm down, come over and talk to me when I'm getting frustrated.
You never threw a racket or anything.
Do a what?
You never threw the racket or
Oh
anything.
no,
No,
I don't
okay, so
throw my
it
rackets.
didn't go that far.
No, not that
Okay,
far.
well that's a plus.
Yeah, no.
You're from Glen Ellen, Illinois.
Yep.
How did you end up here at Concordia?
So actually, my senior year, I did not really know what I wanted to do after, because COVID and all that. So my cousin Austin Esterly went here. He graduated a year ago? Yeah. And then my friend Alex Walton actually went here too, and then so I visited because they were like, "Oh, you should come visit here, see if you like it." So I visited, talked to coach and some of the track people then too, and I just fell in love with it. So, yeah.
Did tennis factor in at all
Oh,
in your
yeah.
decision?
Yeah, for sure, I would say so, because I met some of the team the first day when I came here, and that they were all super nice. I remember meeting Ricky, Ellie, some older players, and yeah, they were definitely a factor.
How old is Ricky, by the way? Seems like she's been here for 10 years.
Well, she's
The ageless wonder.
Yeah, she's a 6-year. I call her the grandma on the team.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
When did you first start playing tennis? Like way back when, and why?
Probably when I was around 4 years old, so very young. My mom just threw me in a tennis class, and I loved it.
Did you ever envision you play at the collegiate level one day?
I
When did
mean-
that start to become a reality?
Yeah. Well, as a little kid, I always dreamed of being a professional tennis player. But yeah, I just think college, I didn't really think of it in high school as much. I wanted to do track, but then coming into college, I talked to coach coming here, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you can play tennis too." And I was like, "Oh, really?" So kind of talked about that, but I thought after high school I would be done. So coming here and playing more has been awesome.
Did you have a tennis player that you looked up to or try to emulate your game after growing up?
I mean, the big one is Serena Williams, Roger Federer, those big names. So yeah.
Once you came here to Concordia, you bring up track and field, and obviously you have
Mm-hmm.
that track and field background going back to your high school days.
Yeah.
How difficult was that here, juggling both, especially because you have, in the springtime, seasons overlap?
Yeah. It was pretty difficult. I remember my freshman year, I would run at conference for track, and then right after that, my parents would rush me in the car, and then we would go over to tennis conference. So it was kind of difficult juggling those, but both coaches were really nice about kind of helping me with scheduling and all that stuff. So yeah.
Did you ever notice, juggling the two sports, did it ever take a toll on one sport or the other? As far as maybe performance goes or results go, obviously if you're focused on, the track and field side, all of a sudden now you're rushing to tennis, and all of a sudden you're not really getting into the tennis match because a different pregame routine. Did you ever notice that playing a factor in your results?
I mean, I don't think it was such a huge factor. I just think it was physically difficult to kind of, get back into it, because after jumping and running, your body's just really tired, and you have to play a tennis match after that. So I think just that part was more difficult.
And now you're just focused on tennis?
Yes, yeah.
Was that a tough, decision to have to give up one sport?
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Last year I was going back and forth on it, but just ultimately it worked out better. Just the one, because I'm student teaching this year for my major, and that's pretty important. So
We'll talk about that in a second, too.
Okay. Yeah.
From a tennis standpoint, when you look at the road ahead here in the fall season, this afternoon against Lakeland, then it's the ITA Midwest Regionals this weekend, next weekend MSOE, and at Wisconsin Lutheran to wrap up the fall season. I guess your thoughts down the road ahead. Obviously, you've seen a lot of these schools in the past, and just, I guess, your thoughts on what remains here in the fall.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're trying to finish our season really well and, clinch that conference title. So I think that's just a big thing for tennis-wise, at least. Yeah.
Obviously, maybe this year's a little bit different with student teaching, but how do you approach the in-between? So you end the fall season, then you have a couple of months away from competition, you're right back into the spring season.
Yeah, I mean, coach is really good about letting us focus on our classes during that time. We still have practices, obviously, with the team and all that. But yeah, he's really good about just letting us have that time to just focus on your studies and everything. So just getting ready for that next spring season, kind of refreshed.
So with what's left here in the fall and what could be in the springtime, do you set goals for yourself? Do you have goals for your final go-around?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I set individual goals and team goals as well. But individual, just just putting it all out there. Cause last year, doing well with Ricky and just overall the team as well. Just getting that conference title and yeah, just having a really fun time.
To wrap it up, as a senior, we
Hmm.
mentioned, from a major standpoint, you're going to get into teaching. So right now
Yes,
you're
yeah.
student teaching. How's that working out?
So actually, next
Next
semester I'll be
semester,
student
okay.
teaching. But yeah, we're taking little steps that right now. Yeah.
Ultimately, what grade or what subject or what do you want to teach?
Yeah, so I want to teach the little kids, so like first or second grade.
Excited about it?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's it's,
Yeah.
it's time, right?
Yep.
All the best to you. Obviously, this
Thank you.
afternoon they have Lakeland, the women's tennis team does, and all the best here in the fall with student teaching, and
Thank you.
hopefully another NCAA tournament appearance for the women's tennis team come springtime. So it's Ashley Samuda. When we come back, our focus will shift to football, and we'll be joined by senior defensive back Evan Lishka. You're tuned into Falcon Focus. Focus now shifting to football, and they're coming off a big win, the Cheese Bowl, knocking off the Lakeland University Muskies on Saturday by the final score of 31-28. Another rivalry game coming up this Saturday back at Thomasini Stadium. A 1 o'clock kickoff, the Luther Cup, the Lutheran Bowl against Wisconsin Lutheran. And happy to be joined by one of the seniors on the Falcon football team, a defensive back in Evan Lishka. Evan, thanks for your time. And let's start off with just talking about the way the season has started. A 2-1 start for the Falcons, knocking off Martin Luther 55-14 in week 1. Falling against a Northwestern St. Paul team expected to be up near the top of their conference, 26-10, and then the aforementioned conference opening win against Lakeland. I guess your thoughts on the way the season started for the team so far?
Yeah, I'd say we had a good start. We had that one hiccup versus Northwestern, but like Coach said, they're a playoff team, so like they won their conference last year. But yeah, I think we lost a lot of guys last year, pretty young, so I'd say we had a good start. Cheese Bowl is obviously important, so.
Yeah, the Cheese Bowl trophy staying here in Mequon. You were out all of last season, so let's start with just how special was it for you stepping back on the field for game action back on September 2nd against Martin Luther?
Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely weird at first because like I got injured really early last year. I think it was like the 4th practice. So I really didn't get to play. But yeah, it was nice to be out there with all my friends and buddies and stuff and play football again.
Have you suffered an injury to that degree in the past?
Nope. That was my first time missing a game of football.
So take us through the road to recovery.
So I got hurt and then did all like some rehab with Angie and then had surgery like 3 weeks later, I believe. And then it was just rehab all spring semester, all winter, and then this summer too. So it was a long process.
How tough was that to not be out there helping the guys coming off a kind of season you had back in 2021?
Yeah, it was tough. Like I had high expectations for myself and obviously the team. We had a good year last year, almost winning conference. So it was tough not to be out there, but I was on the sidelines as much as I could, just helping out, trying to still be a part of the team.
You look at the here and now, and you mentioned that loss against Northwestern St. Paul, 26-10. When you go back to that game on September 9th, I guess in your opinion, maybe what did you learn from that game, or what was the difference in that outcome in your opinion?
I learned that like we had to step up as a defense. We gave up a lot of big plays in the secondary, especially to that quarterback. He was pretty good, but yeah, I think it kind of prepared us in a way for Lakeland this last week because they threw the ball on us too. So it kind of just got us ready for conference, and it's a good warm-up.
And talking about that conference opening win over the Muskies, 31-28, outscoring the Muskies 17-7 in the second half. What adjustments did you guys make in that second half that really limited Lakeland?
We just got together and said, like, we can win this. Like, it's been a while since we've won at Lakeland. So, yeah, we were all really, like, confident in the locker room and just, like, stick together and we can get the win. And we ended up doing it.
How much fun is it to play in those rivalry games, whether it be Lakeland, whether it be Wisconsin Lutheran, or it just seems like there's a little more on the line?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like, you get to Lakeland and just like, oh, I gotta play Lakeland now. Let's beat them. But yeah, there's just something different to it. Like, there's just that natural like competitiveness, and I don't want to say like hate, but
Sure.
rivalry.
And you had a season high of 6 tackles, recorded an interception, and a couple of pass breakups. Were you pleased with your play and the progress you've made from game 1 to game 2 to game 3?
Yeah, I've made steps each week. Moving from cornerback to safety from week 2 to 3 was definitely a little change. So, still work to improve on and get better. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess in your opinion, has it taken a little bit, to get back in the flow, back into the rhythm of game action for you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just missing last year is like weird seeing like a quarterback throwing the ball at you again and like hitting somebody. But yeah, getting back in the flow of things though. So
where would you say as you head into week 4, where would you say your confidence level is at this point?
I'd say it's close to 100%, like individually, and I'm really confident in our team. We've had some freshmen step up. So yeah, we're playing pretty well right now, so I'm happy with that.
And we mentioned you were coming off a great 2021 season in which you were named an All-NAC honorable mention, and you registered 38 tackles, came through with a couple of picks, had a fumble recovery. When you look at your success in 2021, what was key for you? What enabled you to have such an impact season?
Well, that year I had a lot of like older guys in the secondary. So like Josiah McDermott helped me a lot, like Gabe Christensen, Troy Stewart. Just talking to those guys and kind of picking their brain a little bit, like what do you do in this and that, really helped me like take the next step.
When you look back at when you first stepped on campus and joined the Falcons back in 2019, do you feel like that's been a big key to your success? Is just learning from the guys ahead of you, and that's helped you improve from year to year?
Yeah, it definitely has helped me sticking with the same team. Like people like want to leave when things get tough, and just sticking with it. And Coach Walker has done a really good job and really helps us out when we need it. So,
looking back at your football career as a whole, even pre-Falcon days, when did you first start playing football and why?
I would say I've played football since I can remember. Like out in the yard with my dad and brother, just kind of throwing the football around. Played flag football through the YMCA, but yeah, I just always enjoyed like watching like the Packers and grew up doing that. So I was like, oh, like football, it's really fun. Like, don't find that competitiveness in like basketball or anything else. So it's just different.
And being from Manitowoc, not terribly far from Green Bay, did you have a favorite player growing up?
Charles Woodson was my favorite player.
No doubt.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Well, and you bring up, the secondary, defensive back, obviously your position here now with the Falcons. You've probably, I'm guessing, played all around, at least in organized football. What positions have you played in the past?
In high school, I played a lot of running back and then safety and corner, too. We were a small school, so we had to play both ways and stuff. We didn't have the guys, so.
So did you know when you came here that defense would be your focus?
Yeah, so Coach Jeff Walker actually wanted me to play wide receiver when I started, but I was like, I've never really played wide receiver, so I was like, I'll just stick to corner and DB, so it's kind of where I'm at.
You mentioned high school, and you went to Manitowoc Lutheran High School as a defensive back, as a running back, number of records with that program playing football, but you also played basketball, baseball, competed in track and field. What are some of your memories or highlights going back to your high school athletic career?
I'd say just like memories with a lot of my friends. Like being a small school, you play every sport with like the same guys, so like that bond we create, I'm still like really good friends with a lot of them. So I would say that, and we were like competitive and stuff, but yeah, it was just fun being with everybody.
And you were a captain in football and basketball for a couple of years for both sports. What did that title mean to you?
It just meant that like my peers viewed me as a leader and expected me to be a leader, so it came with responsibility and kind of prepared me for college and later in life.
So what led you here to Concordia?
I would say, well, I was looking at the school, and I liked it's kind of similar small class sizes and wasn't too far from home. I don't like being really far from home. I don't know, kind of a homebody, but yeah. And then I liked the football program, Coach Eder and Coach Walker. So,
how was the transition? So once you left your high school, came here to play football, was that a relatively smooth transition? Was that eye-opening going from playing high school football to college football?
It was definitely eye-opening. The speed's a lot faster. People hit harder. People are stronger and bigger. So, yeah, playing like D6 Wisconsin football to here is definitely a lot different, I would say.
Did you ever consider playing a different sport in college, or was it always football?
It was always football since I can remember. I remember telling my mom, like, I want to play in, like, the NFL one day. It was always a goal, so.
And defense. I mean, that was a big focus.
Yep, defense, yeah.
And it's worked out so far. You look at, okay, your time with the Falcons. Is there a game, is there a performance that thus far stands out among the rest?
I would say the Cheese Bowl this last week because obviously, like, it's my first time playing against Lakeland when we won. My freshman, sophomore, junior year, we lost, sadly. But then last year, like, being a part of the team, we still won, but I wasn't, like, playing. So, like, it still was important, but this just kind of felt different, like, beating them at Lakeland for the first time since 2012, I believe. So, yeah, it was a big game.
Take us through, like, in-game, the in-game mindset for you, okay? So as the game's progressing, especially let's take the Lakeland game, for example. It's tight, second half, back and forth. For you, in-game adjustments, what are you watching for? When you watch the quarterback, when you watch the way the opposing offense, operates, what are you watching for? What kind of tendencies are you looking for?
So I'm just, like, sitting back at safety. I'm just reading the quarterback. So, like, this last week, he liked to kind of, like, look at the receiver. He didn't look me off a lot. So when he kind of, like, looked, I was like, okay, like, he's probably thrown there so I could start cheating. And that ended up leading to my pick. And then just, like route concepts they kept hitting us on that they were successful on. It's like they're going to come back to that eventually. So you just have to be ready for it.
When you go about trying to read an opposing quarterback, is it hard sometimes to read a quarterback, or is there always something that they're doing, whether it be with their eyes, whether it be with their hands? Can you pick up on stuff quickly?
Sometimes pick up quickly, but a lot of them try to, like, look you off a little bit, like look off like right and come back left. But a lot of them like to just lock on and tell you who they're throwing the ball to. But
what was the feeling like then when the game ended on Saturday and you guys were victorious? I know there's been a team photo after with the Cheese Bowl trophy. What was just that whole feeling, coming off that loss, bouncing back, getting the conference opening win? Describe the feeling, the environment at Lakeland after that victory.
it was awesome. We were all, like, really excited, exhausted. It was, like, a long, long game. But, yeah, we were all really happy. Like, first time winning there, like I said, at Lakeland. So it was just a different feeling, and we were all, like, really excited and really happy.
Going a step back a little bit, you were part of that unique spring 2021 COVID season. That was very unique, in which there was no 2020 fall. All of a sudden, you try to get 5 games in. The Falcons and Eureka were the only 2 teams of the conference that were able to play, as they deemed it, a full schedule in the spring of 2021. What was that like, going back to, instead of in a spring season, you had an actual football season in the spring, and every week you never knew if the game was going to happen or not, just based on COVID?
Yeah, it was definitely really interesting. Like, we had to, like, do our weekly tests with Angie in the field house here. But, yeah, that season, like, I feel like it helped, like, my class in general a lot because it allowed us to play a lot. So I feel like that helped us a lot, like, my junior and, like, this year. So a lot of us got experience early playing, even though it was, like, a funky year. Like, we still had some games, but still playing football.
Did that change the offseason at all? So you go from playing 5 games in the spring to all of a sudden, bam, summer happens, and then you're right into the fall season of 2021. Did that change the preparation at all? Did anything change really in between the spring and that fall season?
Yeah, it was definitely a quick turnaround, and Coach Siekman, I believe, was new that year. So, like, he was trying to implement all of his strength and conditioning stuff and kind of get settled. So, like, we worked out with him that spring, but normally we have that spring off to, like, rehab and train and condition. And then, yeah, that summer kind of flew by, and in the weight room running, and then boom, season.
And going back to that spring of 2021 season, a dramatic win against Wisconsin Lutheran. Remember, he serves me correctly, going for the 2-point conversion and converting and picking up the win against WLC. That's the opponent this week, and they're coming off a tough-to-swallow loss against St. Norbert this past Saturday. 1 o'clock, Thomasini Stadium, Lutheran Bowl, Luther Cup on the line. What do you expect from the Warriors? What have you come to expect when you've played Wisconsin Lutheran?
Yeah, they always seem to play their best football against us, no matter their record or our record. It's always a tight game. We talked about it on Sunday with Coach Etter. He said it's always a tight game. Every once in a while you get a blow-up, but they're always a good game. They like to throw the ball, so there'll be opportunities for us on defense. So
great opportunity for you as well, and they'll have to be trying to avoid number 0. Speaking of number 0, why number 0? Is there any significance to the jersey number, or was that just given to you?
That was kind of just given to me. Coach Etter and Coach Walker, like, hey, like, do you want to wear this? I'm like, sure. I've kind of had 38 all the 4 years, so I was like, I'll make the change. So, yeah.
Pretty neat. You look at the roster, first name that pops up, Evan Liska right there, number 0. and back for a senior season. For this Falcon team to continue to make some noise, if the Falcons in football are to compete for a conference championship, I guess in your opinion, what has to happen? What do you feel like this team needs to do to be a contender for the conference championship?
I just feel like we have to keep playing how we're playing. Like this last week, you had some freshmen step up very big for us on defense and on offense. We're kind of still finding our way. It's still early, but get the win this week and then can kind of settle down a little bit, get out of the rivalry games a little bit. But yeah, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. We're playing well, so keep having good practices, good weeks, and just kind of build on that.
How have the freshmen been, fitting in, and even some of the new guys in some different roles? Obviously, a new quarterback, or at least in that starting role, new quarterback. How have the guys been kind of fitting in through the first 3 weeks?
It's been good. Yeah, this is one of the best years, like with gelling as a team since I've been here. Normally, like during fall camp in the first few weeks, you have some trouble on the team, but we really honestly haven't had much. I mean, obviously you're going to have a little bit here and there, but yeah, the freshmen kind of came in and followed really well and are doing a good job. And that's kind of a credit to like the upperclassmen, the seniors and juniors of leading by example and helping out. So,
how about for you? Have you set goals for yourself, what you want to accomplish here, maybe not just as a team but individually here for this fall?
Yeah, I have goals, like obviously first team, all conference is a goal, but more importantly, like winning the conference championship. We were so close last year, so I would really like to get that and knock off Aurora. But
do you ever, look at, say, I want to have X amount of interceptions or X amount of pass breakups? Do you set any, game-by-game goals? Like today I want to get my hand on, 3 passes, 4 passes. Do you set goals like that? Yeah,
like a game, like a pass breakup or 2 would be like good, but like more like season goals and kind of like building each game to get to that. But yeah.
To wrap things up, and we ask every senior this question when on the program, academically, what is your major and what do you hope to do with it?
So I'm majoring in environmental studies. So the goal is to hopefully work for the DNR as a conservation warden. So I'm in the application process now, but yeah, that's the goal. So hopefully it works out.
Yeah, all the best with that, and appreciate your time. All the best this Saturday. Keep it going. As that's Evan Lischka kind of to join us here on Falcon Focus. Again, coming off that big win for the Cheese Bowl, and now looking to make it 2 for 2 in the rivalry games with the Luther Cup, the Lutheran Bowl. Hope to see you at Thomas Senior Stadium. That's Saturday, a 1 o'clock kickoff. Falcons and the Warriors. Evan, again, thanks a lot for your time. For Evan Lischka, Ashley Samuda, for Patrick Cassie, our entire crew. Matt Meadows, thanks for watching. Falcon Focus, we'll do it again next Tuesday on The Fan.